You know, one of the really cool things about Walt Disney World Resort hotels, it's a very unique characteristic of the hotels that you'll find here at the Walt Disney World Resort, is that so many of them are much more than just hotels. You know, they're so much more than just a place to stay while you visit. Many of them are also like vacation destinations in and of themselves. And Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge is honestly a great example of that. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's day 2 and it's just you and me this morning. Russ had some running around that he needed to do, so he took off for a couple hours. That wasn't the original plan, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Anyway, I'm just getting my day started and I wanted to hang out with you for a bit and talk a little bit about this because this has been on my mind since we checked in. And I mean, look, this isn't news to me, it shouldn't be news to you. I talk about how here at Walt Disney World, there are a lot of hotels that are much more than just hotels. You know, they're resorts, they're experiences. It's one of the reasons that I highly recommend going back to your hotel midday, especially if you're staying on property, because there's so much that you can do here at the Walt Disney World Resort hotels. Of course, some are gonna have more things to do than others. Some are gonna be a little bit more interesting depending on what your interests are and your wants and needs of your family. You know, we go over this all the time, but Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge is a super unique one because it has a ton to offer. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what that is. Let's get comfortable on the couch here for a second because there is just so much going on here that honestly, I mean, we don't have any plans to leave. Probably going to stay here for the duration of our stay. We might hit the parks, but yeah, it's kind of secondary to the reason we're staying here. We want to enjoy the resort. We want to enjoy the animals. But after seeing everything there is to do, like, I mean, I don't even know if we'll be able to accomplish all of it. Okay, so before we go any further, let's take a second and cover some basics about Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, because I'm sure that some of you might not necessarily be up to speed with this place, so let's get on the same page. Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge is a deluxe category resort, which means it's going to be one of the most expensive resorts here at Walt Disney World. Though I think it's important to note that it might not necessarily be as expensive as you think. It's on the more affordable side if we're talking about cash rooms. Cash rooms just meaning the price that the average guest will pay, which is important to note because here at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, we also have Disney Vacation Club rooms. That's actually where we're staying today for this trip. We're in a DVC deluxe studio. Another thing that's super important to keep in mind, because I know it's a little bit confusing, probably because of the name of the resort, is while this is called Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, this is not located in or at Disney's Animal Kingdom. So you're gonna have to take a bus to get to Animal Kingdom. You're not gonna have any special access to Disney's Animal Kingdom. This is different from, let's say, Beach Club, Boardwalk Yacht Club, those places where you can walk to Epcot, Hollywood Studios. You're not gonna be able to walk to Animal Kingdom from this resort. You're gonna have to get there like you would if you were staying anywhere else. So it's really important to recognize that with this resort so you don't think that you're gonna be able to have like easy access to Animal Kingdom. What you will have is easy access to a savannah and the animals, but not the actual theme park. And speaking of the animals, it's actually one of the things that makes Disney's Animal Kingdom so special. And one of the reasons that I defend Disney's Animal Kingdom as a deluxe resort. I know that a lot of people are like, well, it's out of the way, it's not easy access to, you know, the theme parks or whatever. You're right, it's not easy access to those places, but you have a unique experience here that you can't get anywhere else. You're staying on the savannah. There are animals all around you. You can see them from your room, depending on your room type, but quite frankly, you can see animals from all around this resort, whether you're in your room or not. So I think that that makes this a super unique place to stay and a place that would be a great choice for families, for example, who have little ones who love animals. It's actually one of the reasons that I listed this when we talked about best places for families. And look, the animals itself, the savannah, it's one of the things that makes this a destination all its own because your room, especially if you have a savannah view, is like your own personal safari vehicle. So if you're a fan of Kilimanjaro safaris, you want to just experience the animals out there, you can do that from the comfort of your room the whole time. We actually had animals sleeping right outside our room last night, which was so cool. And then we woke up this morning and we saw like this, it was the funniest thing. This like group of animals who all seemed to be plotting against the ducks that were making such a racket last night and even this morning, like just swimming around the pond, quacking at full volume. And you know, that's special. That's special if that's your thing. It's my thing, it's Russ's thing, so we really enjoy this. But it's so much more than just the Savannah, because this resort has a long list of things that I just don't think you're gonna find elsewhere. I actually have the schedule here on my phone. I took a picture of it. Generally speaking, I find that resorts that have activities like this will have a printout so that you can bring that printout back to your room and keep track of what's going on. This resort didn't have a printout, but I'll tell you what, I didn't really have the best experience at the front desk. Probably a conversation we can have later. They just didn't seem very forthcoming with information, which is a little disappointing, especially based on what we've heard about this resort. But again, we'll get to that some other time. Anyway, this schedule shows all of the activities and happenings here throughout the week and throughout the day at Jambo House, which is the side that we're staying on. There's also Kidani Village, which is across the way. And they have a lot of the things that you would expect from a Walt Disney World Resort Hotel, things like movies under the stars and campfire and all of that. But they have some really unique offerings as well that again makes this seem like a really, really interesting place to stay and much more than just a hotel. One of them is called the String of Memories activities. I think I mentioned this last night when we were wandering down to the gift shop. Throughout the day, there are different activities during different designated time slots where you can learn a little something and speak to cultural representatives from different parts of Africa. And when you do those activities and you hear those stories, you can earn a little bead, which I think is so cool. I would love to do this. I think we're gonna try and do this probably tomorrow. That would be so much fun. Something really interesting to do with our day. Again, because we're gonna be hanging around the resort and just taking it all in. I also think it's so special that here at this resort they do have cultural representatives from different parts of Africa. This is something that I've always found super fascinating, especially over in places like World Showcase, where you can talk to different people from those countries. And the fact that we have that same thing here, and arguably a bit more of it, because it's not just a small little area, it's throughout the resort. I just think that that's super cool. I also really enjoyed talking to some of these cultural representatives during past visits. We ate at Sanaa quite some time ago and did get a chance to talk to someone from Zimbabwe, and it was awesome. It was awesome. So really love that that's an option here at this resort. But there's something else that I thought was super interesting. You know how when we wander through, I always talk about the artwork, because there is so much artwork throughout this resort. Absolutely gorgeous art, by the way. It turns out they have an entire art tour here at this resort. It begins at the lobby. It's Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m., which, by the way, that schedule is subject to change, but that's what it says currently. And during that tour, you're going to get a look at some of the artwork that is here at the resort. Of course, you can just wander around and enjoy this artwork as well. But you know what I thought was super cool is, did you know that Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge has the largest private collection of African art outside of Africa? How cool is that? So yeah, just a few more reasons that this resort is special and much more than just a resort. And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons that people love it here. It's one of the reasons that I'm enjoying my stay. Speaking of enjoying my stay, let's head out to the balcony, see who we can see out here. It's a little quiet this morning, but I do see some pelicans. Oh, and there are those ducks, the loud ducks, the menaces of the savannah. Just kind of wandering around. Do you have some pelicans over there? Can you see them? They're kind of big. Might be a little difficult to see at the moment. It's kind of quiet out here right now. I don't see anybody. I've noticed that the animals do kind of rotate, so we're probably going to see a lot more animals this evening and into tomorrow morning. That's when he's fluffing his feathers down there. That's when we get the most action. Of course, we always want to keep an eye out, or an ear out, I should say, for the vehicles, because when the vehicles come by, they bring food sometimes. Sometimes they don't bring food, but the animals think they will, so the animals will follow. So I don't know, it's so nice. It's such an interesting place to stay, and there really is so much to do if you're willing to take the time to do it, which is like another piece of this puzzle, right? I feel like so often when we have conversations like this, there are always people who don't see eye to eye with me, which of course there are always going to be people who don't see eye to eye with me, but more often than not, their position tends to be like, well, I'm not going to waste time at the resort. I want to spend my time at the parks or whatever. And that's great. You know, you do whatever kind of vacation you want to do. But I mention all of this, I mention places like this because they are out there for those of you who want to have a more casual vacation, for those of you who want to spend some time in the room and relaxing. All of the things that some people say isn't possible when you visit Walt Disney World, it's totally possible. You just have to plan appropriately and stay in the right places or enjoy your time in the right place. Because you don't have to be staying here to enjoy this resort outside of things like the pool, you know what I mean? But there are options out there. Maybe we should have a longer conversation about how to plan a chill vacation, because it's definitely doable. By the way, I don't know if you can see this like streamer moving back here, but I feel like I owe you an explanation. This is toilet paper that has been stuck to the top of this dresser in order to add movement to the room so our air conditioner doesn't kick off, because it's a motion sensor. Always very exciting to have that at Walt Disney World hotel rooms. There's so many things that I want to talk to you about this room, but again, I'm gonna save judgment for our checkout day. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this is such an interesting place to be. I feel like this is just such a great example of a resort that offers so much more than a place to rest your head. And of course, I would love to know what you guys have to say, especially for those of you who are looking for that type of thing. So maybe consider it. I don't know. It's got its flaws too. Of course, we're going to save that for our checkout day vlog. We still have some more time here, and we've got a lot of things that we'd like to chat with you about. Of course, Russ wants to be part of that conversation too, so we'll wait for him. But for now, I think it's time to wrap up this conversation. Thanks for hanging out with me and spending the morning with me. I hope that this was kind of an interesting conversation, you know? I know it's not one that people focus too heavily on. People kind of breeze over this stuff because there's such a heavy focus on the theme parks when visiting Walt Disney World, but it's one of those things that definitely deserves a little bit of attention, so I'm glad that we could sit down and talk about it. Of course, I'd love to know your thoughts, not only on Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge if you've ever stayed here, but on resort type experiences like this. You know, is this one of those things that you would prioritize or have prioritized in past visits? You know, more relaxing, like all-inclusive. It's not really all-inclusive, but you know, an experience of a resort. Is that something that you prioritize when you visit, or are you more of a, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to be in the room anyway kind of family? Let us know all about it in a comment down below. I will say for me, and for the way that we travel when I'm traveling with Russ as well, I've done a lot of solo travel in the past, but I can go either way. You know, on one hand, I do really appreciate a place that's just a place to sleep and wash up at the end of the day. But on the other hand, I really do appreciate experiences like this too. So I don't know, I'm straddling the line. It really depends on why I'm traveling, what I'm wanting out of that vacation. But like I said, I want to hear from you. Also, do you find any of the offerings, like the ability to talk to cultural representatives or collect beads, stuff like that, do you find that appealing? Tell me about it in a comment down below. But for now, I think that's all. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one and hearing everything that you have to say. All right, until then, bye guys.